What's going on, Imperials? It's Emperor Cubone here. Every new setting for a Pokemon game has their own brand of characters that will make it a rich and worthwhile experience. Often this is most prevalent with the gym leaders, who have a certain something about them to draw in players of all kinds. Everybody's got a leader or two that they'll like in a region. However, which region has the worst and best gym leaders can be up for debate, so let's see if we can try and figure it out. Now, I'm not going to go by region, rather by station. Meaning, we'll be looking at all of the first gym leaders together and see which of them is the worst for their area of the game, and so on, all the way up to the top, and compare the last gym leaders at the same time. But I'm not just here to complain about things, so we'll offer a few suggestions on how they might improve. So let's get into it. For the first gym leaders, we have Brock, Falkner, Roxanne, Rourke, and then Unova gave us Silent, Chili, and Cress, and Charon in Black and White 2, then Viola, Trial Captain Ilima works for us as well, and of course then Milo. Now if they were to all fight each other, it would be quite interesting since there are 3 Rock-type users that could immediately take out the poor Bug and Flying specialists, and then maybe the Grass ones would swoop in and wipe them out. But that's not how we're doing it exactly. I'd like to look at, first of all, how many Pokemon these gym leaders have, with what levels they're at, and what kind of moves they all learn, because sometimes it's not even a full set. And it is worth noting that I will be using the first time we see these type specialists in their debut generation, since a post-game rematch doesn't really show what it's like when you first arrive. So my immediate thoughts went to the Waiter brothers from Striaton City, since half of their team is a Lillipup, although that works when you're a normal type gym leader like Chirin, who's actually kind of tough, or even the first Trial Captain is pretty good. Now before the trial he is kind of weak, but that's just a preliminary test. After, he's got a huge Gumshoes and a Smeargle with a move that can take out each one of the starters no matter which one you pick. So it might be hard to hear, but I'm inclined to pick Brock, since he's only got a Geodude and an Onix. Now Rourke has that, but also add in a Cranidos, and Roxanne has a Geodude with a Nosepass at a higher level. Brock's are at level 12 and 14 respectively, but the reason I'm putting them as the worst is because they literally only have normal type moves. Maybe this was the intention, but without any rock or ground moves, Brock's Pokemon just sit there as a wall for you to chip away and do very little back to you. The strategy is just try and outlast them, and since somebody already got Brock a shirt, my suggestion would be to give them at least one rock or ground attack. Sure, Falkner might be too low level with too few moves, but at least his Pidgeotto can use Gust. Geodude only has 2 moves anyway, so I'd provide it with a simple Mud Slap to give it something to do, and Onix should at least have Rock Throw. It wouldn't be that big of a problem outside of Pidgey, or maybe the bug type of your choice, or Charmander I guess, but you knew that one going in. The second slot for gym leaders across the generations gives us Misty, Bugsy, Brawly, Gardenia, Lenora, and Roxy in the sequels, Grant from Kalos, Lana, and of course, Nessa. It's a lot of water types. But I won't waste your time, Bugsy is absolutely the worst here. Any gym leader that uses 2 Cocoon stages has a lot to learn. Roxy might only have 2 Pokemon, but at least they have all of their moves. Plus, the only bug move that Bugsy even has is Fury Cutter on his Scyther, which is his one useful partner. But that Scyther, again, only has 3 moves. Same with Metapod and Kakuna. Now yes, it is better that they can use Tackle or Poison Sting, but we all know they're far more likely to just use Harden or String Shot. So the simple fix that I would recommend is using any other bug type. And there are some lovely ones introduced in Johto that Bugsy completely overlooked. So at least giving him a Yanma that wasn't repped at all in this gym would be a clear improvement. The third ranked spot belongs to Lieutenant Surge, Whitney, Watson, Maylene. Now, Fantina was here in Platinum, but we're not really doing that, and she's not going to be the worst anyway. So, then there's Berg from Unova, Corina, Kiawe, and then Kabu. 2 electric, then 2 fighting, then 2 fire. I guess they go through phases. I was tempted to say Lieutenant Surge for his low levels and lack of full movesets, but if you don't have a moderate ground type by that point, it can still be really tricky. And on paper, Whitney would seem disadvantaged by having only 2 low-level Pokemon, but obviously we know how notorious her gym is, so it's not always so apparent. I think this time we'll have to go with Berg, specifically from Black and White 2. Now you can do the challenge mode, which buffs everybody up, but normally Berg has traded out his Whirlipede that he had last time for his Swadloon, which would be fine, except his ace is Illivanny. So doubling up on quad weaknesses is never a good thing. If you insist on being 4 times weak to fire, at least change it to a Durant so that flying isn't a problem too. Plus, you never see a Durant until the end of the game anyway, so this would be a nice change of pace. So it is worth noting that not all gym leaders are so linear and can be challenged in a different order, but we will be going with their default listings for simplicity, which puts Erica in the 4th position, and of course Morty, Flannery, Crasher Wake, Ilessa, Ramos, Mallow, and Alistair or B in alternate universes. And after looking at all of it, I think Erica would take the spot. Sure, Morty's Pokemon are at a lower level, but he's got more of them, and at the very least you can't just use standard normal against them. Ramos's Pokemon don't have all of their full movesets, but Erica takes it by her Tangela alone. It's level 24, far lower than the other two, and it only knows Bind and Constrict, which is the worst normal attack in the entire game. I get that it's a ball of vines, but you're not going to give it any grass? Not even a powder move like the other ones have? So that's what I would say. Even if nothing else changed, just give her Tangela at least Vine Whip, if not Mega Drain, which is the TM that she provides, and maybe another Poison Powder or something, just so this Pokemon can do anything besides lightly squeeze their foe and then die. 5th in the rankings, we have Koga, Chuck, Norman, Fantina, Clay, Clement, Sophocles, and Opal. Now most of these are fairly strong for the mid-game, with 4 team members, or at least decent levels and stronger Pokemon. Clement is suspicious since all of his Pokemon only have 3 moves, but I think Chuck has got to be the one here. This muscle man only has a level 27 Primeape and a level 30 Poliwrath, which is really teetering on relevant levels anyway, but Primeape's only useful move is Karate Chop. So really all Chuck needs to do is add 1 Pokemon to his team, and as luck would have it, we've got a choice of 2 new ones that were completely ignored. So even 1 more Pokemon would be an improvement, with just 1 or 2 moves, to help make this gym more than just an annoying pit stop to get back to the lighthouse. Next, at 6, we have Sabrina, Jasmine, Winona, Byron, Skyla, Valerie, Acerola, and parallel versions of Melanie and Gordy. Jasmine, of course, should really have evolved her Magnemite by this point, since they are at the proper level, but I think Skyla will be my pick here. Now, it is worth noting, again, that we are not going by gym leader personality or anything like that. Her levels are higher, but not high enough for this section of the game. And besides, we just went through Chargestone Cave to get to Skyla's gym, so there's a strong chance that a Pokemon you just caught can do serious damage to her feeble team. I mean, after all, her ace is a Swanna. We could fix it by adding in some other neat flying types that are underrepresented in the Unova region, but really the main thing I think would just be to raise her level caps a bit more so that she's a little more on equal footing with the next link in the chain. 7th gave us Blaine, Price, Liza and Tate, Candace, Bryson, but then also Drayden, Olympia, and Pierce. Now, as you might have noticed, Alola was not mentioned, and that's because the Dragon Trial did not have a captain. Probably because Komodo ate them, so that should probably make it the worst. However, Price is a bit of a letdown since he's still got Pokemon in the 20s when Blaine had them in the 40s last time, or even 50s if you count Yellow, but I think I'm going to go with Liza and Tate. This honestly surprised me at first, but yeah, it stands to reason that the 7th gym with only 2 Pokemon would be a bit of a pushover. I mean, I like Solrock and Lunatone, they're pretty cool, but they can't hold down a gym all on their own. And while the double battling gimmick is a welcome change, it's an even bigger disadvantage for them when they can be hit at the same time in a region with some of the best naturally occurring grass and water types I've ever seen. So honestly, their fix is easy enough because they did it later on, and just added in more Pokemon to their team. But I would make sure to alternate their signature Pokemon so that we don't overload on identical weaknesses. And in the final position, we have Giovanni, Claire, Wallace, and then Juan, Volkner, Drayden again, but with Iris, and then Marlin as well, Wulfric, Mina, and Raihan. Now, Claire's team is pretty low with 3 Dragonair all at level 37, but that's probably to be expected since people always say the ability to level up in Johto is difficult, so that's about at the right amount of progression. What doesn't flow as well is Mina. Again, some people might be against a trial captain's inclusion, but even they would have to admit that Mina is a little lackluster. Firstly, she doesn't even do anything in Sun and Moon, she just hands you a Z crystal, but that's not even what I'm talking about. Even in Ultra Sun and Moon, when she actually has a trial, it's done less than it should be. You can't even start it until after defeating Ultra Necrozma, yet she only has 3 Pokemon, and they're all barely level 50. On top of that, each of her Pokemon only have 3 moves apiece. We can do far better for the last trial captain in the region. And even worse is that she gives you 1 petal and then sends you off on an exhausting fetch quest across every other island in Alola. Some people might appreciate that, but it's different if I choose to do an island hopping adventure versus it being forced upon me to progress the story. So first of all, let's get her Pokemon some moves. It doesn't even really matter which ones, just get 4 moves in there. And please, let us do this before defeating the super powerful legendary, because after that it just makes another totem Pokemon a little less special. Let's just say there's probably a reason they felt they had to give her more screen time in the Let's Go games as well. So, those are the gym leaders who I would say are the worst in their rank, and how to spruce them up a bit. But I am sure there will be disagreements on this one, so let me know why my picks are wrong down in the comments. Also be sure to leave a like, share this video, and do please subscribe so that you too can become an Imperial today. And we'll see you around next time!